Hey there, fellow leapers. Here we are with the Quantum Leap episode review. Unfortunately, Damon is quite under the weather. Some laryngitis is keeping him from joining us today, but we know he's here with us in spirit. So we're here today with myself. I'm Mike Bloxam. I've been co-hosting this podcast with Damon since the beginning, and we've also got MJ Cogburn, founder of the Virtual Seasons, and Brian Greene, operator of Val's Place. So, good evening, folks. So today we're reviewing Season 2, Episode 2, Ben and Teller, broadcast on October 11th, 2023, and The Leap Date, which is another one from the 80s. I think by my tally, the sixth one out of 20 episodes happening in the 80s. May 9th, 1986.
Oh, it was a good time.
80s? Yeah, the 80s
it's
were good.
Great time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The best.
We all lived through it, so.
Exactly, yeah. So Ben takes on the role of a bank teller in the wrong place at the wrong time during a dangerous armed robbery. Meanwhile, Addison, Magic, Ian, and Jenn come to terms with a shocking discovery, and the team adds a new member.
Yeah.
New member.
New member.
And the leap location, Tucson, Arizona, which we learned fairly early on, and the leap date we already mentioned, also learned early on, which is kind of nice. Sometimes they tease it out or hide it. It's nice to know things up front sometimes. And Lorena Chavez, we also learned the full name this time, and and a little bit about her background before we get thrust into the main story.
Isn't it nice that he was able to go, a name tag? Yeah. I know who I am. Isn't there a line earlier in the first season, in the first season, he's like, wish they all had name tags. Something along those lines.
I think so. Yeah.
Yes, that rings a bell. Yeah.
So, at least he got there.
His wish.
He finally got a wish.
So, do we want to do just some personal thoughts on the episode first? Do you want to start us off, MJ?
Well, I thought it was a really good leap. It was straightforward. He was there for a purpose. We find out what the purpose is very quickly when the three guys come bursting into the bank and, guns blazing. So, but I guess what really got to me was the little, I'm jumping to the end. And I can't help but jump to the end because of what happens. But if y'all want to talk about that before I go there, I can pause for the cause, I guess. But other than that, I thought that he was really good at guessing things throughout this leap, even without Ian showing up or anybody being there. So I thought that was a good thing for Ben. At least he didn't get shot. So
yeah.
His lucky number 3. So yeah. I just thought that with the Pentagon shutting everything down, how were they able to break in? I know that Ian kind of talked about it, that he had Ziggy running in the background. But I wonder, it makes me wonder, what did he do? How did he have Ziggy running in the background, like SETI program?
Yeah.
Well, which I did for a little while too.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, he says that.
Yeah.
Jenn and him talking about it, yeah.
But I think we learned later that wasn't exactly what he was doing. But we still don't know exactly.
We don't know exactly what he was doing.
Right.
You kind of put me on the spot because I don't have a lot of notes for this episode. I was in a really bad mood yesterday, and then I watched the show. So.
Well, I hope it lightened your mood after having.
It did lighten my mood a little.
There you go.
So it helped. It helped. What did you think, Brian?
Oh, yeah, you're right about the Leap story. It was really good. It takes off right off the bat. Plenty of action. I like the actors. I like the story. I think it was pretty well written. And, the bank robber stuff mostly was believable. There was a little bit of stuff in there that I was like, if this guy's really robbing the bank, he probably should have known this already. But, overall, I thought it was, very good. The project story is getting twisted up and turned on its head, obviously. And it'll be interesting to see how all that plays out after being 3 years. So it's 3 years for the project, but, no time at all for Ben, which is a whole different kind of thing, which we'll see more of, I think, in episode 3. Wink. So it's gonna. I think it's gonna get very interesting, very quick.
You're jumping ahead.
So this season's already taken off, and I'm all aboard.
All right. Well, I'd have to agree. It was a good episode. I liked the pacing, and I liked the time that they split between the Leap and the project. They seem to have struck a good balance now, where it's not overly heavy project stuff. It's we actually get to know the people in the Leap and start to care about them, as I think MJ was alluding to with Rebecca and her brother. So it has that payoff when you get at the end of the episode.
I wish they kind of went more into that backstory between the brother and the sister. I think that would have added a little bit more to the story. Why were they separated? What had happened? All it needed was just a couple minutes of, well, when we were teenagers, this happened, and that's what caused us to get into this situation. Then you'd be like, oh, okay, I understand now.
I kind of got the impression that maybe their parents were gone and it was only the two of them. Just at the end, that's what I kind of read between the lines a bit. I don't know 100%, but she mentioned he came to her to borrow her car and then disappeared for 3 days, and I'm guessing she didn't get her car back. But something she said at the end there was, "It's only the two of us, or we only have each other." Made me think maybe there was a catastrophic loss of their parents at some point.
Yeah, I got that feeling too.
But you're right, MJ. A little throwaway line that would help.
Just something that said, maybe it was their parents had died and he didn't go to the funeral. Oh, that would have explained a whole bunch right there.
Right. Yeah.
But that wasn't said.
No, you're right.
So, just a little thing. I wish there was more about how Quantum Leap, the project is running. I understand they shut it down. Everything's all folded over. There's crap everywhere, but still, why? I understand they couldn't find him. Even Al had a problem finding Sam in the very last one.
Yeah.
Because they didn't add his actual birth date.
Right.
So, I don't know. I want to know more about how things are working there, and I don't think they're going to go there.
Well, I've got a few episodes to get there. So hopefully we'll see a little bit more of that. Like, I'm wondering, was he suspended in time for 3 years? Or did they just lose him, and when they finally found him, it had just been a day for him somehow or another, because he's in, anything's possible in time travel, I guess. So it'll be interesting to see how they explain that. Obviously, we're going to get something because of what Ian said to Jenn when they were having that conversation about, what did you really do?
Yeah.
So we're going to get some more somewhere down the line, I feel.
I hope so. Do
Yeah,
you know something that we don't know, Brian?
I do not. I do not know that.
I just think back to last season where they teased stuff out of the project over quite a few episodes. So I think we're going to get the same this season. Yeah. So all will be revealed by the end of the season for sure.
I hope so. I hope so. I mean, we still have questions from last season that never really fully came to fruition. So I'm still kind of wondering. But I did like how they were how they said, just like Al says it to Sam, yeah, you leave a week ago. We've been popping champagne since,
Right, in Genesis, yeah.
So bits and pieces are coming back, which is great. I just wish they would, well, you guys know what I wish I would. So he said no. Damn it.
Well, in the last episode of the original series, it says he never returned home. Is that because they couldn't find him? Is that what we're looking at? Just like this? They lost him? And they just never went back? They didn't have an Ian.
Well, they also didn't have I don't know if he is still leaping. We don't know. Because if he leaped into himself and he is himself, then no one should be in the waiting room.
Right.
He's like Strappa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, still, I don't know.
Maybe he's just suspended in time somewhere all this time.
Waiting. Maybe that's the whole point.
Maybe.
Waiting for Ben.
Yeah. Maybe.
I don't know.
Well, what I did find interesting about this particular episode was it contrasts with, and I'm blanking on the name of it, but season 5 when Sam leaps into a bank robber in his hometown of Elkridge, Indiana.
Oh, yeah.
And now we have a leaper on the other side of a bank robbery being one of the hostages.
Yeah.
I was half expecting, as soon as I saw he was a teller, I thought, oh, there's going to be a robbery. That's. I just wasn't expecting it to be right at the beginning, the way they charged in and got right to it. But I know I think we comment on this each time when we see a new hologram effect. There was finally a cool effect there where Ian appears in the middle of the table and doesn't see his legs.
That was fun, yeah.
That was good. I like that.
Well, what happened?
And then there was the point when you could hear Ian's voice, but you couldn't see him. That reminded me of in Killing Time when Gushy was trying to be the hologram and they didn't have it synced yet. And Sam was just looking around, hearing Gushy's voice. And so they're using some of the same tricks from the original series, which I like. That's a little bit of consistency.
I think that's why I liked it a lot more this week.
Yeah.
So it seemed more like the original than before.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Even last week's there was no observer until the very end of the episode, as we learned. So this was a solid one. I'd say it was an improvement over last week.
Yeah, it does seem like they're getting way more Leap story in. I think everybody wanted that.
Yeah.
But I still like the other characters, so I don't want to lose them. But definitely the Leap story is the best part of it,
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
For a grandmother, that he really had some really interesting traits that he was showing off as a grandmother figure. I'm doing Pilates.
Yeah.
Well,
and then breaks into the wall.
Yeah, I thought something was a little off with that because he does break through the wall. And, in last season it says that he is, he's limited by the host body. So as a grandmother, could he have done that, even with his martial arts training or whatever? I don't know. That was a little off to me.
Well, that gets back into that debate of, is it the consciousness leaping? Is it the body leaping and taking over?
And we don't know.
Yeah.
It was
so maybe
never
something's
really
changed.
fully said.
No.
So.
Yeah, somehow they're entangled, and Ben's body's not in the, at the project, so he's got to be somehow mixed up in there.
Maybe they will explain that. Maybe when Ian messed with Ziggy, he was able to fix something in her. So, I don't know.
Maybe.
I thought it was interesting how they were about to be arrested for breaking into the project.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Tom's like, hey, speaking of new character, I just call a senator, take care of everything.
Yeah, that
seemed
quick, though.
Really.
That text to the, I think he said it was the director of the FBI, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was like 1 second delay there. How did that happen?
Yeah.
Ring. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that should have been at least a minute.
Yeah.
I understand they can't stand around for a minute, but
well, they could have talked about something
True.
in the meantime, and then the phone rings.
You're right.
So, let's talk about Tom for a minute.
Okay.
Yes.
So we understand that he's the new love interest for Addison. Okay. And did they ever say how they met? Or when they met?
Vaguely.
I can't remember.
She had apparently known him from the military for 13 years. It says that at some point there in the beginning.
Makes you wonder if there was something going on there anyway.
Yeah, could have been sometime in the past, yeah.
And once Ben was gone, there was a reconnect.
Yes, indeed, because they're working on, they're working together somehow. I had a feeling. With whatever she was doing, training new recruits.
Right.
Yeah, running through drills.
Yeah, it wasn't clear whether he was there as part of the training or he just showed up to deliver that news.
Yeah, I guess that could go either way.
I think he was sent there to tell her the news because nobody else wanted to tell her. It needed to come from the significant other.
Right.
Well, I guess that's who Magic called and said the news shouldn't come from us.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah.
So he called Tom, right?
I've only watched it once so far. But it's going to lead to some interesting drama, isn't it?
For sure. And I like the Tom character again. Even though, you kind of want, even though in the beginning you didn't really want Addison and Ben to be connected because it was, it was weird.
Yeah.
But then it kind of grew on me, and now they pulled them apart. So it's like, what are we doing? I don't like this. But I like him, and all the the whole team liked him. They'd played games and played Risk or whatever, and hung out on 2 years and all that kind of stuff. So they liked him too. So that's going to be an interesting twist.
That was a quick summation of 3 years. We played games and. And everybody loves him, obviously.
Yeah.
So what did they do for 3 years? It still goes back to, what did Ian do?
We'll have to find out.
I guess so. Because there was 2
I
years of
wanna know.
active search. Right? It sounds like 2 years of active search, and then the Pentagon said, well, we can't sink any more money into this. And then it's 1 year after that search ended. So Ian's obviously been there or done something.
Again, if the project is shut down,
Yeah.
there's no power to it, there's nothing going on.
One
He
would
can't
think.
run a computer in the background unless he's running it through Janice.
Right. Who
So
hasn't been mentioned
maybe,
yet.
yeah, maybe she's coming back. I don't know.
Would they have cut the power, though, completely with a supercomputer like that just sitting around? I don't think they would have.
Well, the question is, could they? She's a sentient being.
Yeah, they've cut Ziggy
He
off
says
before.
it's like, really? No, they really didn't. They couldn't. They can't.
Well, they took him off.
Shut
Took her
her
off.
off. They can try. She can go hide in the web somewhere. You know, come on now.
That's true. It's all cloud-based. Yeah, it says.
That's right.
So they can't shut her down. So one way or another, she's there. It's just getting access to her, which would be Janice, which would be the other project. But whatever.
Now, I saw something, a news article where Janice is not going, so far anyway, is not going to be in this season for whatever reason. I can't remember who it was, but one of the producers or someone said that they wanted to focus more on the current, team and not add extra stuff to it so they could really focus on more characterization of them. So we may not see Janice for a while.
Okay.
That's an interesting tidbit.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brian.
You're
and your you and your tidbits. I just think it's really interesting how she told him. She's standing there right in front of him. And that he would know as soon as they saw each other, he would know. And she still had to tell him. But she really didn't tell him. It was just...
He knew.
Yeah. It was just... what did she say? Ben?
Yeah.
And a look.
Yeah.
Okay. That's one way. Can just say, well, we had a funeral for you. Well, I guess didn't Ian tell him?
Yeah.
We had a funeral for you.
Grace. It was
and beautiful. I sang Amazing. Yeah.
They, I said he, sorry. They sang Amazing Grace.
And it was beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. I think maybe somehow Ben knew as soon as she showed up, though, because it had been 3 years. They assumed he was dead. Yeah. Perhaps he was holding out hope that she was going to wait for him.
I did like the one add-on that they did for Ziggy. Well, for the project, at least. That they could see him as who he leaped into. Or they can see Ben.
Right.
Right.
They had that last season as well. There were a couple of times.
I guess then that it's the body leaping then. If they see him on the screen.
Yeah.
And not the other person. Because they would have seen Loretta. Isn't that her name?
Lorena.
Yeah, Lorena.
Right.
They would have seen her.
Well, so far, all of the observers have seen Ben as himself, as far as we know.
Right.
Yeah, they sort of went into detailed explanation of that last season with where they had Martinez and they had the two characters sitting on the table with the faces cut out, taped to them. Remember that?
Yeah.
So they definitely see Ben as Ben. So somehow both bodies, the host and Ben, are intertwined together. However that works.
I don't know.
But in the original series, I'm pretty sure Al saw the Leapee.
In the beginning, yes.
In the beginning, anyway, yes, because
about
he said,
halfway through they changed it.
Yeah, he said in the waiting room we see you, but you.
Yeah, and if you think about the original series, there were upgrades all through it. From the hands
right
to things that changed, like Al seeing the Leapee and Al seeing Sam later, and then Ziggy was a he, but then it was a she.
Yeah.
And there were various upgrades, and even in the Leap Back, Sam says he's updated the program. Right. So things continue to change, and it's always changing. And now, 30 years later, of course, there's going to be major upgrades. They figured out other ways. They can get the observer into the, they can send the observer back to a time, without really being connected to Ben in one part. And so there's all kinds of different things happening. They're playing with it, obviously, to make it fit the story. But the original series did it too.
Yeah.
They wanted to change some things, so they changed it. So I don't think badly of them for it anymore, thinking of it that way.
I don't think that they'll be able to do like the episode Raped, where they have to have the person in the same room with Sam.
Right.
And how they figured it out. I don't know how they figured it out, but they could power Albuquerque for a year or something. But they were able to do it.
Yeah.
And
right.
That literally saved that leap, was having her there to tell her story.
Right.
So.
And similarly, a leap for Lisa, where they had Bingo leap into himself, or however that worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't have anyone in the waiting room to try that with. You're right. That's
because they're kind of
that's one gimmick we won't have in this series. Yeah.
I think we'll see the host come out at some point more. Like in one where it was the priest in the first season of this new series. In the mirror, it looks like the mirror image is doing something a little different or about to say something at one point. And I read something somewhere where the writer or whoever said, yeah, that was on purpose.
Okay.
Oh, is that in the trailer?
That was in the first season when he was a priest, I think.
Oh, the Halloween episode.
Yeah.
In the 30s.
Where he's talking to himself in the mirror, and the mirror doesn't look exactly the same. It looks like he's about to say something else. That was on purpose, according to the
okay.
people
All
in
right.
the seats there. So I think we'll see something.
Well, that whole leap was kind of weird because that's when Janice first shows up and she's trying to do her shtick.
She shows up as a smoke monster.
Yeah, smoke monster.
Lost.
So yeah, I just wish that again we had more information about the characters that are happening at the project. I need that backstory.
Yeah, I think that's coming.
I hope so.
That's coming. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so too.
So what else we got? I thought it was interesting that Ben could be seen in the imaging chamber without the observer inside the imaging chamber at one point, because Ian comes out and they're looking on the screen at Ben, and there's no one. So yeah, that was a change.
Yeah, because they did that last season, but someone was in there at the same time, right?
Right.
Yeah. So there you go. Over 3 years, I guess they did some upgrades.
Oh yeah.
When?
Well, maybe during the first 2 years
What?
when they were still looking.
What did
Right,
they
yeah.
do? See, that's the stuff that I want to know. But
Yeah.
Gotta be patient, MJ.
I can't help it. I can't help it. I was looking at some notes that I had, but I thought it was interesting that Addison said that she was not wanting her job back. Really? You're supposed to be his observer? So who's going to be the observer if you're gone? And but I thought the military
apparently can be the observer.
Right?
Yeah.
I can walk in there off the set and do it.
I don't know.
Well, she must be sticking around if they're adding these new cast members, and looks like the project is going to be running again with Tom's influence, apparently.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So is Tom coming back? Is he going to be I mean, obviously he's going to be a new member. I get that. So because the military doesn't leave anybody behind? Because I believe that was his statement, that we don't leave people behind.
Yeah. That was kind of the theme.
I don't know why my dogs keep barking, but they are. So I'm sorry.
Well, that not leaving anyone behind was kind of the theme of the previous episode. And it was mentioned in this episode too. So I think, yeah, it's a not so subtle hint that
we're not leaving people behind.
Yeah. Ben will not be alone.
I wonder what this tattoo that Ian had, like right here on his chest. Mm-hmm. He has a little tattoo. He had that weird, funky, slanty shirt on. And he had a tattoo that's right here. I don't know what it was, though.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're going to explain that at some point.
I noticed that, but I don't know if that is a character trait, or if that's something that the actor
that he just
himself has.
I think I read something where that is actually their real tattoo.
Okay.
So I can't remember what it says, but yeah, all the tattoos are apparently their real ones.
All right. Cool. That works. It works with the character.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
for sure.
It does.
So I found interesting toward the end, Ian was telling Jenn kind of about the results of the leap, which traditionally was something Al would tell to Sam, right? It would kind of wrap up the episode. He'd say, "Oh, so and so does this," and blah blah blah. But Ian said how some of the people continue on with their lives. But then Addison does kind of do the rest. That's what she comes to. She's supposed to be there to tell Ben something else, but she does kind of delay that discussion by telling him how everything turns out for everybody. So I'm glad they didn't do that all at the project. They did that a lot, I feel like, in season 1. A lot of that, here's how their lives turned out, was between the people of the project, as opposed to telling Ben how he impacted their lives.
Well, I think they wanted everybody, the writers at least wanted everybody to know that this is what happens to them, because we always heard that at the end in the original series. Mm-hmm. This person is this, or this person did that, or now this person is working with us.
Yeah, right.
That happened a lot. So,
yeah, I just wish they would do that more directly to Ben, as opposed to, kind of Ian sharing it with Jenn or other members of the team, which
Yeah, I agree with that. It would be nice if he actually got to hear what he did. And it's been a
like
time
sense
now.
of accomplishment after putting his life at risk for
Right.
the
Exactly.
whole
Yeah.
leap.
So 729 for what? 729. I know
It took me forever to figure out what that was. Because if you just listen to it, it's very hard to hear what he says. The name Allen Iverson.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay, right. The basketball
and I know
player.
exactly zero about sports. So I had to do some serious Google searching on the number 3 to finally figure out what he said.
Oh, okay.
I guess that would be a kiss with history, wouldn't it?
Somewhat. Or like I could have just put the subtitles on when I watched it live tonight. And then figured it out. But yeah, that took me several minutes to figure that out. So there's some things that didn't make sense to me, like
What?
the team's always very curious about how things work, but then Ian tells Jenn and Magic that no time has passed for Ben, but that they don't really ask for any further explanation whatsoever. So I was like,
They're like,
okay.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, we'll just take that. And then the Reynolds character, he came off very, irritated with the person on the phone who was a grandma, like
and a
they were
hostage.
part of it. Yeah, like they were part of it or something. I don't know why they made the character quite like that.
Well, I guess to prove that he couldn't be trusted, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That he wasn't going to get them a helicopter.
Another one was that Jenn found the vault code from a hack in 1992, but this is 1986. So I don't know about bank vaults back then, but I imagine they would have changed the code. Does anyone else know more than I do? So it seems
I
like
would think that they would.
Yeah.
And highly unlikely they would keep a record of previous codes as well, even
Right.
if it had been changed. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good catch.
And then, of course, the team is broken into the project. They're being arrested, but none of them are in handcuffs that I could tell. They're just sort of being escorted out of a top secret military project. So.
No, we used to work here. It's okay. We're all good.
Yeah.
We're not trying to hurt anything. Just trying to save people. I did think that the acting was really good in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah, I believed the guy was going to kill the system.
I did too.
Yeah, he played it very well, I thought.
And Magic is no longer a government employee, period.
Mm-hmm.
So does that mean that he's not going to be on the show anymore?
No, he's going to be on it. I've already read that. But, then he says, Addison tells Magic that she won't take her old job back, and he says he understands, but he's not really in charge of it at the moment. So that was a little.
So who's in charge of it?
Right. So I guess Tom is maybe taking over, since he's kind of a higher up military type person. Maybe he's got those kind of, obviously you can dial up the director of the FBI and have him answer within 1.2 seconds. So, he's got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So how will Magic fit in then?
Right. Maybe he's still going to be sort of the leader, but Tom is really the oversight.
Right.
Something like that. I like the score music.
There should be some. I hope they really go into that. Maybe they will the next leap.
Yeah.
And explain what his role is.
Well,
if he's going to be staying.
Yeah, now that he's been introduced, hopefully the next episode will have some background on what he was doing before, and
not just the love interest, the new love interest.
Right.
Right. Well, he's supposed to be a series regular, according to all the reports. So.
Right.
And then there's another one that was mentioned early on before the season even started, who plays a character named Hannah, that we should find out about in episode 3.
Oh, all right.
Or at least get introduced somehow or another, from what I hear.
Yeah, I saw
We
that
shall see.
in the credits, but they didn't appear in the episode, so I was a bit confused. On IMDb, anyway, they were listed, but not.
Oh yeah, they got that wrong.
Yeah.
Which they often do.
Right. Before an episode airs, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Did anyone else find it kind of funny that they used the trope of a pregnant woman
oh
during
yeah,
the bank robbery? I was like, of course it's a pregnant woman.
We need to get her out. We need to.
Yeah.
She's hyperventilating and she's pregnant.
Yeah. But I feel like that's been done before many times.
Well, then in the one you mentioned earlier, no, you didn't. Well, the bank robbery with the brothers in the original series.
Yes.
The woman was pregnant. That was in the bank.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yes,
right?
she was.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. That's why I was thinking this has been done before. And
Right.
Yeah. Oh, I'm still blanking on the name of the episode. That's terrible. I used to have them all memorized.
I did too, and now I can't think of the name of that one either. Come on, Brian.
I have to look it up.
You should know.
You know, I'm consulting
something land
right now, so
something with land. Promised Land.
Promised Land. Yes.
Yes. Season 5, episode 11. That's right. She was pregnant there too, and I think she was also a hostage that was released in good faith. So maybe less of a trope and more of a nod to the setting in the original episode.
I hope they look back into an old Quantum Leap episode somehow, even if it's just to the side. You know, that would be pretty interesting, and into the old project somehow or another.
Mm-hmm.
That would be cool to see.
Absolutely.
But it looks like they're going back to 16 something with the witch trials, according to the preview.
The Salem witch trials.
Going way on back there.
Yeah.
A little far back.
A little, yeah. I think Damon said this last time, but I agree. It's like too far back to really. You don't have knowledge of everything that was going on, right? So it's kind of like that 1870s.
You only have little snippets, and that's from family members telling the story back to back.
Yeah.
So trying to figure that out is going to be interesting. I really thought one thing that was a real what's going on here for me was everybody was like, no, we understand that you went on with your life and everything's good and you're with Tom now, but we're not going to yell at you. We're not going to fight with you about anything. We're just going to, I'll be glad that you moved on, even though Ben is lost in time somewhere. And then they find him, and then it's, y'all aren't going to yell at me? Well, no, we're very accepting of everything.
Yeah.
There should have been at least one person that was like, what the hell are you doing? Just one.
Yeah, because you know somebody would have been. Somebody would have been feeling that way.
One of them would have been, what the hell are you doing? Why? Yes, I understand you're with Tom, but we found him. get your butt back in there and help your ex-fiance,
Yeah.
something, but
So I
still
wonder
haven't
then, was he
figured
declared
it out.
MIA? But if they had a funeral, I guess they would
Yeah,
assumed him
He was
dead.
declared
So
dead. They
yeah,
declared him dead.
yeah. But then again, so was Al. Al was also MIA and declared dead.
Declared dead. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Parallels.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how they get some closure on that.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be easy.
The next episode is called Closure Encounters.
Closure
Oh.
encounters.
Hmm.
Nice
Hmm.
segue.
Well done, Brian.
Sure.
And that airs next week on Wednesday, is that right?
Right? Same time, 8 o'clock.
Same Pat channel.
All right. Well, if we're done, I guess we can sign off and get
I
ready for
guess
next
so.
week for
All
some
right.
closure encounters.
I don't know if Damon is going to pop in and give snippets of his thoughts to what we talked about, or if he's going to come on at the end of this thing. I don't know, but I know he said something that he was going to do to try to get his take on it.
Well, when his
So,
throat's better,
we'll-
I hope
We'll
he
see
can
what
do
he
that.
does.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll pop up. Maybe we should all look up or to the side,
Yeah.
like he's there.
Damon, where are you?
He'll figure it out.
Right. Oh yeah, he always does. All right. Well then, until next time, this is Mike.
MJ and Brian.
And Brian,
Yeah. All right. Take care and keep the leap.
good night.
Good night. Bye.